Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider dropping likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So as I have been updating you on a regular basis with in regards to Wan-Bissaka, obviously it's looking very imminent that he's going to be our second signing this summer, and our second signing of course under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Obviously the headlines broke out yesterday. This was stemming from Duncan Castles, who was a journalist. He said Manchester United have come to an agreement with Crystal Palace on a world record fee for Wan-Bissaka, and I think the fee is around £55 million. And also it broke out today that the fee that we've agreed is around £55 million. Obviously this is a world record fee. Also it will make him the most expensive fullback in world football. Also making the most expensive English player of all time, ahead of Kyle Walker, because obviously Kyle Walker is the most expensive English player at the moment. Obviously City got him a couple of years ago for around £50 million. Obviously there was initial add-ons included, which did potentially rise it to around 52 or 53 million pounds. But I'm looking forward to Wan-Bissaka coming in. I think the transfer is set to be completed within the next 48 hours. Obviously the terms that have been agreed, like I said, the fee has been agreed, but he's obviously been on our agenda for quite some time, and obviously he's been one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's prime targets, because obviously Wan-Bissaka is predominantly a right back, and obviously we definitely need a right back in. Obviously Wan-Bissaka told Crystal Palace that he does want to join Manchester United this summer. Obviously wants to rejuvenate his career, take his footballing career to the next level and all that. But yeah, we recently had two bids turned down for Wan-Bissaka. Obviously the last bid we had turned down for him obviously was £50 million. Obviously it wasn't the offer wasn't £50 million up front that we basically offered Crystal Palace. It was £35 million up front with £15 million in add-ons, but obviously Palace didn't like the structure of the offer, and obviously before that we had a £40 million bid turned down for him. So I think Palace did basically say they want around 40 or 50 million pounds up front, with add-ons included and all that. But yeah, I think we have come to an agreement on a £55 million fee. But he is going to fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recommend a number of young players to come to Manchester United this summer, and Wan-Bissaka he's only 21 years of age, and of course he's British, and there has been quite a few British players on our agenda, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talent to Manchester United this summer. So yeah, it's looking very imminent. He's going to be our current second signing. So we do get this deal finalised for Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, it's going to take Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's net spend up to around £73 million, because obviously we got Daniel James for £15 million, but there was initial add-ons included, which did potentially rise it to around £17 or £18 million. Wan-Bissaka is proven in the Premier League. Obviously, established himself as a first-team regular for Crystal Palace last season. I think he's made about 42 senior appearances. I think he won Palace's Player of the Year last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. Only made his senior debut in February of last year and all that, so he has become an integral part of their team. But yeah, he has still got 3 years left on his contract. But I think also Tottenham had inquired about his services, but I'm really looking forward to him. Looking forward to to Wan-Bissaka coming in, because I think his defensive capabilities are very good, and I do believe he's got the abilities to elevate Manchester United forward, and I think he will be a perfect successor to Antonio Valenti, because we do know that Antonio Valenti is currently left the club. Obviously he served 10 years at Manchester United. Obviously I think he'll be a great upgrade to Ashley Young. Obviously again, Ashley Young's been another long-serving player here. He's been here 8 years as Ashley Young, but obviously he's one of the problematic players. He's past his sell-by date. He's 33. I think he's actually nearly 34 years of age now, so I think he'll be a great upgrade to Young, and obviously he'll be a good cover-up for Diego Dalot, because Diego Dalot is too inexperienced at the moment, and of course he is the upcoming future. Wan-Bissaka is predominantly a right back, but when he was actually younger, he was an out-and-out winner, but as he was developing, of course, he got rotated as right back. But I think Wan-Bissaka has been a Crystal Palace player since the age of 11, so he's moved now to Manchester United. He's looking very imminent, and that is very good indeed. But I think we expect to get the majority of our transfer business done by July the 7th. I think initially Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted it done at the beginning of next month, but I think we're expected to do the majority of our transfer business by July the 7th. So that is really good news and all that. But I've also been reading up reports today. I think I updated you about it in my last video, and this is coming from ESPN. Obviously it's coming from Mark Ogden, and he's basically said allegedly Manchester United have only got £100 million to spend this summer. This is what basically Mark Ogden has said. Like I said, I don't believe there's any credibility in it really. I don't believe we've got £100 million to spend. I think it's £200 million we've currently got to spend So basically, if we had only £100 million to spend, obviously, with us on the verge of getting our Wan-Bissaka for 55 million, obviously we've already got Daniel James there for £18 million. That's £73 million spent there on two players, and obviously that would only mean we'd have around £27 million to currently spend on getting a central defender, obviously, a midfielder, right winger, and all that. And obviously we're not going to be able to do that with £27 million. So I don't currently believe this and all that, but I think it's around £200 million. We have currently got to spend, because obviously £100 million isn't enough, to currently get the number of players in that we do want, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. But obviously it's going to amount up to a lot more than £200 million. Of course, obviously if we sell Pogba and we sell Lukaku and all that, I think we'll probably raise around £200 million from their current sales and all that. Because it's looking very in that Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku are leaving, so I think we can raise at least £200 million for their sales. Maybe even more than £200 million. But yeah, it's looking likely anyway that Wan-Bissaka is currently going to be coming in, and that is very good news. But I have been reading a lot of reports today as well. If we don't get a deal fully finalised there from Wan-Bissaka, it did say we have showed an interest in Max Aarons from Norwich. Now there has been a lot of talks about Max Aarons from Norwich going on, and it does say Manchester United have been in for him. Obviously, we're seeing Max Aarons as an alternative to Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, looking at it from a financial point of view, Max Aarons, would substantially cost less than Wan-Bissaka. But I think, Norwich are reluctant, to currently offload him. Max Aarons is primarily a right back, but he can also play as a left back. He's only 19 years of age. I think last season was only his first season in the senior squad with Norwich. I think he joined their youth academy in 2016, had a couple of years in their youth academy, and then obviously, last season, broke into the first team and all that. And I think he played about 43 games for Norwich last season, I think, in all competitions. I think he initially, began his career with Luton. But so Max Aarons did sign a new long-term contract with Norwich last summer. So I think he's under contract with them till 2023. Obviously, won the championship with Norwich last season. But it does say, Manchester United have been in there for him. And obviously, we have seen him as an alternative, to Wan-Bissaka. But yeah, there has been quite a few right backs on our agenda, but obviously Wan-Bissaka, of course, is the top priority. But I think now we will be, I think now it will be in our plans, now when we do get this deal finalised for Wan-Bissaka, and I think our plans then will be to obviously, recommend a midfielder to come in, and hopefully, it's going to be Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, he's been one of our main priority targets. But obviously, I've been reading reports today about Bruno Fernandes, and a bit more additional information was updated about him. And it reportedly, currently says that Tottenham have held negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' agent and all that, which does mean that it may make us have to make a final decision on Bruno Fernandes, because obviously, we'd held negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' representatives, saying that we do need a bit more time and all that, and we do want to keep informed of what happens with Bruno Fernandes and all that, because obviously we want to get the deal fully finalised for Wan-Bissaka first. I think before we do make the move for Bruno Fernandes. But yeah, it did get confirmed yesterday that Bruno Fernandes' agent was in London having negotiations with Tottenham and all that, because Tottenham have been in there for Bruno Fernandes, even though about 5 days ago saying that Tottenham had ruled out the move for him. Obviously, Tottenham are seeing Bruno Fernandes as a replacement for Christian Eriksen, because obviously, Christian Eriksen is linked with a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, he's been linked to a move to Real Madrid, and obviously, Tottenham are going to want to replace him for him if he goes to Real Madrid. And obviously, Tottenham want to do transfer activity this summer, because they haven't done any transfer activity in the last couple of windows. And obviously, Mauricio Pochettino is going to want back in this summer. Obviously, the last player Tottenham signed was Lucas Moura, back in January 2018. I think he did say, was it prior to the Champions League final, that Pochettino threatened to resign as Tottenham manager, of course, if he's in back this summer. But I do believe one of Tottenham's main targets is actually Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon. I think one of their other targets is obviously being Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis and all that. But I've just read Sky Sports now, and it does say again now that Tottenham have called their interest in Bruno Fernandes. I'm not too sure, right? I didn't really read the full article, but now it says Tottenham have called their interest in. But so many teams have inquired about his services. Obviously, he came out the other day saying that Liverpool had put a bid in for him around 45 million euros. Obviously, that equates to around 40 million in pound sterling. But Liverpool have obviously, been in there for Bruno Fernandes, and if he was to go to Liverpool, which I don't see happening, he probably would fit Liverpool's system perfectly. Obviously, Liverpool and that, can offer him Champions League football. And I think Liverpool are actually, the first team, to make any kind of a formal bid, for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, we do know Manchester City have also been in for him, but I think it got confirmed the other week that Manchester City have obviously pulled them out of the race now for Bruno Fernandes. They've withdrawn their interest, but it has been mainly Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. I think at the time, City were only willing to pay up to £47 million for his services, but it did say City were willing to offload a couple of their players as part of the deal and all that. And I think it did say the other week, we are preparing to spend up to £70 million on his current services, but maybe Sporting Lisbon, may sell him for around 45 or 50 million pounds. I think Sporting Lisbon, do want at least around 50 million pounds. But he is only 24 years of age. He is primarily an attacking midfielder, and I do believe he would be the good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. But it did come out the other week, saying that this was stemming from the Portuguese press. It says we are emerged as the front runners to get the players' signature. This is what it basically said. We are emerged as the front runners and all that. It did say we're very close to signing him. It said we had reached an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. I think it also said that Atletico Madrid have entered the race with him, so he has been subject to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation, because it's looking very likely he will be applying his trade elsewhere next season. But obviously he's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. His Bruno Fernandes is going to want to rejuvenate his career and all that. He's had a good couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon in Portugal, but he hasn't really played to the highest level as yet. He scored 31 goals for Sporting Lisbon last season. He scored 31 goals for Sporting Lisbon last season, and very impressive. We do need some players in that midfield that can score goals and all that, also provide, create, and Bruno Fernandes definitely would be the right solution. But as I said, he said he would talk to Sporting Lisbon about leaving, if a club came up with an offer that he couldn't currently refuse. Bruno Fernandes said the other week he still follows watches the Italian football and all that, and follows it all, because obviously when he was younger he spent the majority of his career in Italy, with the likes of Sampdoria on Londonese and all that. But looking at it from a Sporting Lisbon Sporting Lisbon perspective and all that, and looking at it from a financial point of view, Sporting Lisbon will make a pretty decent profit on his current departure and all that, because obviously Sporting Lisbon really got him from next to naught. I think Sporting Lisbon paid around £8 million for his services, from Sampdoria in 2017. But it's very imperative that we do get a deal over the line for him. Very imperative indeed, because he has been one of our main targets, and he has been on our agenda, for quite some time. He did initially say a couple of weeks ago, that we had scheduled a meeting, with Sporting Lisbon, to get the deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes and all that. But I still believe we're considered to be the favourites. But now, obviously, we're focusing on getting the deal wrapped up first for Wan-Bissaka. Then we'll look, to getting the deal finalised for Bruno Fernandes and all that. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But like I said, Champions League football is always very essential, when you do want to get your number one targets. Champions League football is very essential and all that. And like I said, we've got to get the right recruitment this summer. A lot of people have said, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer. Like I said, it's not always about, spending big on players. And I think we are moving away from the policy of signing them well-established players and all that. But like I said, we've got a history of spending big on players, especially in recent years. Lukaku 75 million, of course, Paul Pogba and that 89 million pounds. But he's worked out his transfer strategy, and he wants to recommend a number of young players to come in. I think another problem with Manchester United, we have let far too many players contracts run down. Obviously, that's been another issue and all that. But like I said, we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. Definitely one of the biggest clubs in the world. We are the most successful team in England, historically and all that. And I know we have been a toxic club, for the last 5 or 6 years, and we have been playing catch up, for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously, we do know a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the club, since Alex Ferguson retired. Obviously, we've had different managers with different philosophies and all that. But we have been mismanaged in the last 5 or 6 years, and this is the main factor reason, why, of course, we have been underachieving. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding, but he does want to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. Obviously, he wants to build a squad, worthy of the club's history and all that. But he wants to bring players in who he thinks are going to fit the culture of the club, who he thinks are going to fit the history of the club and all that. Because clearly these are cultural problems at Manchester United at the moment. But like I said, I think going on into next season, I think our expectations, should I say, going on into this season, our expectations, will be probably, to finish in that top four, maybe win the Europa League, maybe win the Carabao Cup, something like that. I don't think it will be to win the league or challenge for the league, because I think we're a number of years off, for mounting any kind of title challenge up. But at least in the next couple of seasons anyway, I believe our aspirations, will be that top four. Obviously, City is strides ahead of us at the moment. Liverpool is strides ahead of us, so it's very imperative, that we catch up with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. That's very, very essential indeed. I would probably give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a couple of years, to see how it works out for him. Even if it probably does, if it does go wrong, going on into next season, I would give him at least another year and all that, because I love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot. I don't know if he's got if he's got the stature, to get us in that commanding position where we do currently want to be and all that, because he hasn't really got the experience of a manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, not to the highest level, especially, he was a great player for Manchester United, for 11 years under Alex Ferguson. He flourished and all that, but he hasn't really got the experience of a manager. But I hope it works out for him, because I basically don't want us to keep sacking managers anyway, because obviously, we haven't got the structure, to keep sacking managers, because we've already sacked 3 managers, since Alex Ferguson retired. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the club inside out. Obviously, one of his most iconic moments, when he was a player, obviously, was in 1999 when he did score that goal against Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. At the new camp, obviously, that was one of his most iconic moments, and obviously won Manchester United the treble, and obviously, that's one of the club's that's one of the club's greatest achievements and all that. So really had a good pedigree as a player, but like I said, he hasn't really got it as a manager. And you even watch some of this team now at this day and age, grow and develop. When he managed the Manchester United reserve team. So I hope it does work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because it all went well. When he was in the interim manager, last season in that 3-month period, it went really, really well. He exceeded expectation levels. The results were good, the performance is really, really good. So it just seems to have all gone on. Since he has got the job permanently. But like I said, we've got issues defensively. We've got to address that defensive area. I think we need someone that can come in and score us them goals, because obviously last season, we wasn't scoring enough goals last season, and we wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. And like I said, it's looking like Lukaku is going to be leaving, so we do need a replacement for him. Like I said, we definitely need a right winger, but we need to see vast improvements, going on into this season, because last season was very disappointing. Obviously, we've missed out on the top 4. We finished 6th. We didn't win many silverware, and we haven't won many silverware in the last couple of seasons and all that. But I said, regardless of who our manager is, no one is going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy, and we're never going to achieve of what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, for 20 odd years of success, that we did have. But obviously, we just want to be back, to be a competitive elite level football club, competing, winning silverware and all that. But I think we have a number of years of currently doing this. But like I said, we didn't spend out in January. We didn't get as number 1 targets last summer. But what Mark Ogden said from ESPN, I don't believe we've just got £100 million to spend, because obviously there's a lot of issues at Manchester United at the moment. And £100 million isn't going to be enough, to get us, the number of players that Solskjaer wants, and to fulfil them areas, where he wants to fulfil them areas, where Manchester United, of course, are lacking and all that. So I don't believe there's any credibility in that. Obviously, as I've been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Paul Pogba, now I think it's looking very imminent that Paul Pogba is going to be leaving the football club. Now we do know he's been relentlessly linked to a move away from Old Trafford, and we do know it has been Real Madrid and Juventus that are battling there. Obviously, it's them two that are battling out for his services. But I've actually been reading reports today, and it basically says that reportedly Juventus are willing to offer Douglas Costa as part of a deal for Paul Pogba and all that. And like I said, I think it's more than likely Juventus would have to offload at least 1 or 2 of their essential players to fund the move for Paul Pogba, because I don't think Juventus can afford to get Paul Pogba outright, because obviously we have put a huge transfer fee on Paul Pogba. We've basically indicated that he's not for sale, but I think we would accept a bid in the region of around £150 million. But obviously reports are reflecting about this was it a couple of weeks ago, saying that Juventus have revived their interest and all that. It says Juventus have been in negotiation with his agent Raiola, and it also says I think this came out last week, saying that the Juventus director had actually travelled to London to negotiate with Manchester United over the possibility of re-signing Paul Pogba. But the Juventus director has confirmed that Juventus do love Paul Pogba, because he was a great servant to them for the 4 year. Well, he was a great servant to them because obviously he had a 4-year spell with Juventus and that, and he did really, really well. Obviously exceeded expectations expectation levels and all that, but he hasn't really replicated this, since he did make the return to Manchester United. Obviously, we paid £89 million for him. But I think, recent reports have been coming out saying that, we are willing to, hand Paul Pogba a loyalty bonus. I think this loyalty bonus is worth almost around £4 million. I think he's set to be handed this payment at the beginning of next month. It also says we are willing to offer Paul Pogba a long-term contract worth up to £500,000 a week. Obviously, £500,000 a week and all that. Whether he accepts this or not, I do not know, but willing to offer him £500,000 a week. So obviously Paul Pogba in his current deal at the moment has got 2 years left on it, with an option to extend it by a further year, and I think he's on about 290 grand a week. So if he was willing to accept this new contract offer with 500 grand, he would get a pay rise around over 200 million pounds would Paul Pogba and all that. And obviously Paul Pogba has confirmed he wants to leave the club. Obviously it got confirmed on Sunday that he had told reporters in Tokyo that he wants a new challenge and all that, and he wants to leave Manchester United. And he actually publicly announced this for the first time, and he even said that Paul Pogba was even willing to go on strike, to force a move away from Manchester United. But his likely destination, for quite some time now, has actually been Real Madrid. Obviously, that's been his first choice preference and all that. But there has been a bit of change of scenery, where lately I think he's keen on making the return back to Turin and all that. But obviously, Zinedine Zidane, wants to get a deal over the line for Paul Pogba. But again, Real Madrid are reluctant, to pay up to the £150 million for him, because so far Real Madrid have got 5 players on the board this summer. Obviously, they've got 5 players on the board this summer. Obviously, they did get Eden Hazard for £150 million, but they wouldn't be keen on spending another £150 million on Paul Pogba. I think also, like I said, Eriksen's on their agenda, and probably Christian Eriksen, would be actually a cheaper solution for. Christian Eriksen, would be a cheaper solution. A cheaper solution than Paul Pogba and all that. But, obviously, Zinedine Zidane has instructed his Real Madrid board, to prioritise a transfer for Paul Pogba. But, yeah, we want around £150 million. Initially, it's not in it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to build a side around Paul Pogba. Obviously, it came out quite a few weeks back, saying that, Solskjaer was willing to offer him the captaincy in a bid, to convince him to remain at the football club. But we do know, at least in the last couple of months, that Paul Pogba's agent, Raiola, has actually been in the process of trying to secure his move to Real Madrid. But like I said, Paul Pogba, was saying a while back, about his dreams of playing for Real Madrid, and he did say that a big club and all that, and he did say at some point in his career, he does want to play for Real Madrid. But maybe the couple of main factor reasons why Paul Pogba wants to leave the football club, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, maybe he wants to be in Champions League football, maybe, he wants to be competing and winning silverware, and obviously he's not experiencing this Manchester United. So basically, he wants a new challenge, like he said, and he basically, wants to rejuvenate his career. But he's only 26 years of age, he's in his prime, he has still got a lot of years ahead of him as Paul Pogba. Obviously, that he was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation last year, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, I think there was talks about him going to Juventus last year. I think there was also, talks about him, going to Barcelona in January. So, obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho left the club, because obviously, their relationship, was really, really bad. And obviously, Paul Pogba with the club has obviously, won the Europa League and the League Cup. Obviously, that came in his second season with Manchester United. Obviously, that had come in Jose Mourinho's first season and all that. But yeah, Paul Pogba has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation, but he hasn't really been the fundamental player as we all thought he currently would have been and all that. Obviously, we saw glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form, mainly in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was the interim manager. That's when we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba. We mainly saw the best of Pogba when Ander Herrera, of course, was playing. So that just emphasises, how much of an impact, that Ander Herrera, currently made. But like I said, Pogba leaving, obviously we're definitely going to need a replacement for him, because we are going to lack that creativeness in that midfield and all that. We definitely need a current replacement for him. But still, even though I know he's an imperative player, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is, I still think, if we do sell him, it will help us with our transition, and of course it will help us with our rebuilding process and all that. He did also say Real Madrid were willing to offer Gareth Bale as part of the deal for Paul Pogba, to obviously, convince us, to lower our price tag and all that. Possibly if he goes to Real Madrid, Bale could still possibly, be a part of the deal. Obviously, talking talking about Gareth Bale. His agent has given us an update saying that he will not be offloaded on loan with Gareth Bale, because obviously, as you all know, reports came out the other week, was it? I think it was last week actually, saying that Manchester United had inquired about getting Gareth Bale on loan. Obviously, it says we was willing to pay his wages and that, we was willing to pay a loan fee, and he did say this could knock it would knock 50%. It would knock £50 million off, around £50 million off Real Madrid's wage bill in the next couple of seasons, because initially we wanted to get him on a long season loan, or we was interested, but it was potentially 2 seasons, because there was an option to extend for the further year. We don't want to get Gareth Bale on a permanent deal, based on his that he's injury prone and all that, and obviously he has been inconsistent in the last couple of seasons for Real Madrid, and obviously Zinedine Zidane has confirmed, that he wants to get rid of Bale. He has no future at the club. This is what Zinedine Zidane said about Bale, and he also said, that Bale is no longer in his plans at Real Madrid. I don't think Gareth Bale has got any intentions of leaving Real Madrid, but I don't want him at Manchester United. I know he's been relentlessly, linked to a move to the club, since 2013, and the rumours have continued to persist since then. He's got 3 years left on his contract with Real Madrid, but Real Madrid obviously want to get rid of him, and they probably would loan him out if they could, but I think they'd rather get rid of him permanently. But obviously it's going to be hard for Real Madrid to get rid of him permanently, based on his substantial wages. Obviously, I think Real Madrid said they wanted around £75 million, so basically they're looking to recoup the majority of the money that they did pay for him in 2013 from Tottenham, because obviously, Real Madrid paid £85 million for Gareth Bale from Tottenham and all that, but yeah, he has been at Real Madrid 6 years, but to say he's injury prone, obviously he is aging up, he's nearly 30, but to say he's injury prone, his ratio is still very good. He scored 102 goals in 231 games for Madrid, and I think he's provided about 64 assists and all that, but he did say the other week, we inquired about getting, Gareth Bale on loan and all that. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, and we definitely need him a winner, but like I said, there is much better options out there than Gareth Bale, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, possibly it could be still part of the deal with Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba, of course, makes the move to Real Madrid. But yeah, like I said, I think it would be beneficial anyway, if we do cash in for him. But obviously, we've looked at quite a few players, who could replace him. Like I said about Bruno Fernandes, obviously, he would be good. I couldn't replace him for him. Obviously, there's been talks about Youri Tielemans from Leicester. There's been a lot of talks about Youri Tielemans from Leicester, and I like Youri Tielemans a lot, and I think he'd be a good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Obviously, recent reports I read up about Youri Tielemans saying that we've now pulled out of the race for him, even though a lot of reports came out last week actually, saying that we'd revived our interest. He said we'd been in talks with his agent over the possible deal and all that. I think Monaco initially rated him at around £40 million. He's only 22 years of age. He is primarily a box-to-box midfielder. He can also play as an attacking midfielder. Youri Tielemans, and obviously, he has now returned to Monaco. He has now returned to Monaco, Youri Tielemans. Obviously, he had been on loan with Leicester since January, so obviously he's had about 5 or 6 months of experience under his belt in the Premier League. But like I said, Monaco rate him at £40 million, so that is a reasonable figure. He's under contract with Monaco till 2022. But I think Youri Tielemans has confirmed he will not be staying at Monaco next season, so it's very likely he's going to be leaving and all that. But I think Leicester have been in talks of getting Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal, because I think Brendan Rodgers is keen on getting him on a permanent deal, because he was very impressive throughout his loan spell with Leicester, so they want to get him on a permanent deal. But he did initially say, that Leicester are currently leading the race for him. Obviously, initially Monaco got him for £21 million in 2017, from Anderlecht. Obviously, he actually began his career with Anderlecht, and I do believe Manchester United, were tracking, Youri Tielemans when he was at Anderlecht and all that. I think also, like I said, Tottenham have inquired about his services, also Manchester City have been in there for Youri Tielemans, so I do believe he would be a good replacement for Paul Pogba and all that. And obviously other midfielders that have been spoken about, Giovanni Lo Celso has been spoken about. He says Manchester United have also been in for him. He is a midfielder. He's only 23 years of age. Like I said earlier on in the video, he is one of Tottenham's targets, is Giovanni Lo Celso. I think Real Betis are looking for I think they're demanding that they want around 70 or 80 million pounds for him. I think it reported out last month actually, saying that Tottenham had lodged a bidding for him, but reportedly Real Betis had currently turned this down, because I think Giovanni Lo Celso's release clause is around £88 million. I think last season he scored 16 goals in La Liga in all competitions, but obviously last season was only his first season his first season with Real Betis. For the majority of last season he was on loan with Real Betis, because obviously Real Betis got him last summer from PSG, but obviously Real Betis made the deal permanent back in April, and I think they paid around £20 million. So basically, PSG do benefit from it because obviously, if Real Betis do sell him, obviously, PSG, do get a percentage of any current sale. But he is only 23. He is Argentinian, but I don't really know much about him, to be quite honest. But he did say, Manchester United were an interesting signing. So do you think he'd be a good replacement for Paul Pogba? Obviously, there was a lot of reports going out the other week. I haven't heard much news about him, quite lately. It was James Maddison from Leicester, and I think a lot of people, a vast majority of people, would take James Maddison at their current football clubs and all that, because he is a very, very good player. I think he's primarily an attacking midfielder. Is James Maddison. I think he's only 22 years of age. Obviously, has had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously, his debut season was last season in the Premier League. With Leicester, I think he was involved in about 14 goals. Obviously, created more chances than any other player. But I think it merged out about this, was it 3-4 weeks ago now, if I can remember rightly, that we'd identified him as a priority target and all that, and he said we'd made initial contact with James Maddison and his representatives. I think we'd made contact with James Maddison, and I think also his representatives over the possible move to Old Trafford and all that. And he did reportedly say Leicester were demanding, they wanted around £68 million for him, and I think I did say we would be happy to pay £60 million for his services, and he did say at one point he was keen on making the move to Old Trafford, but he did say he had reservations about coming because we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But he is British, of course, is James Maddison. But I think, reports confirmed the other week that he wants to remain loyal to Leicester. So I think he will intend on spending at least another season with Leicester, will James Maddison. Obviously, anyway, at some point in his career, obviously, he's going to want to, rejuvenate his career. He's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level. So obviously, I don't think he will be spending the rest of his playing career with Leicester. Obviously, Leicester only got him last summer from Norwich. Leicester paid around £20 million for his services. And I do believe he signed a 5-year deal. So he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. Obviously, when he was younger, obviously he began his career with Coventry and all that. Graduated from the youth system, and I think quite a few teams were tracking him. When he was a teenager at Coventry. I think he also had a loan spell with Aberdeen in Scotland. But when he was at Norwich, he did have a good couple of seasons in the Championship with Norwich. So I do think also that James Maddison would be definitely a good replacement for Paul Pogba. So there has been so many midfielders on our agenda. I think we also definitely need a holding midfielder without a shadow of a doubt. We definitely need a holding midfielder because, like I said, Match is too inconsistent, not good enough, too slow, too ineffective and all that. And plus, he's aging up, like I said, and Matic too inconsistent. We need a centre defensive midfielder that's fast and tenacious. Fellaini left back in January, and like I said, at the moment, Scott McTominay is too inexperienced. But there has been quite a few holding midfielders on our current agenda. Obviously, there's been a lot of talks about Declan Rice. I haven't read up much about Declan Rice, quite lately, but I like Declan Rice a lot. I don't think he's got any intentions of coming to Manchester United as Declan Rice. Obviously, he was in for him before. I think it did say, it would take a bit of around £50 million to convince West Ham to offload him. I do really, really like him. He's proven in the Premier League. Initially I learned his trade in the Premier League and all that, and he's only 20 years of age. He's Declan Rice, and I do actually like him a lot. But I think he was on our agenda before, but I haven't read up much about Declan Rice lately. He's on the contract to West Ham until 2024 because I think he signed his new long-term contract back in December of last year. But I think he's primarily defensive midfielder, but I think he can also operate as a centre back, of course. So yeah, he's obviously been on our agenda. I want to give you some latest news in regards to Romelu Lukaku. Obviously now I've just been reading recent reports about Romelu Lukaku, and it reportedly does say that he has agreed a deal with Inter Milan worth around £180,000 a week and all that. I think we want around £75 million for Lukaku. So basically, we're looking to recoup, basically the money that we did pay for him from Everton back in 2017. Because initially, we did pay £75 million for him. Obviously, there were several add-ons included in the deal of £15 million, which initially was in the deal to £90 million. And Lukaku, of course, has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. But we do know he's been on Inter Milan's agenda now for quite some time. time. Obviously, Antonio Conte has identified him as his number one target and all that. And obviously, Lukaku is eager to play under Antonio Conte, because obviously Lukaku, recently described Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world, as one of the best managers in the world. And reflecting back a couple of years ago, this was when Antonio Conte, was the manager of Chelsea. He basically, said, that he wanted Romelu Lukaku at that point. But obviously, he came to Manchester United. But like I said, it will be beneficial, if we do get rid of him, because obviously he's one of the problematic players in the club. Plus his service to requirements at Manchester United, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed. And obviously, we told him a couple of weeks ago, that he can leave the club. I do presume that Inter Milan and Manchester United are still negotiating on coming to an agreement on a fee, because the fee seems to be the problem at the moment. I don't think Inter Milan are willing, to pay up to £75 million for his services. He did say that Inter Milan are willing, or have offered, Icardi, in exchange and all that, but I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's keen on bringing Icardi in. Also, it came out last week saying that we'd been offered, Ivan Perisic. We'd been offered Ivan Perisic, plus cash, for Lukaku. But again, Manchester United turned this down, because we do know that Ivan Perisic is no longer a Manchester United target and all that. But basically, they try to involve one of the players of Inter Milan, so they can convince us, to lower our asking price for Lukaku, because basically, Inter Milan, I think from their perspective, rate Lukaku at around £50 million. But like I said, I think initially everything's been agreed. Like I said, he's agreed the personal terms. I think he's agreed a deal with Inter Milan with around £180,000 a week. I think he has agreed a 5-year deal, and that with them. Inter Milan, of course, are willing to meet his wage demands. So basically, everything has been agreed, but the actual fee and all that. But like I said, Lukaku has been at Manchester United, 2 years, and, he did really, really well in his first season, but didn't really replicate that in his second season, of course. And Lukaku is reluctant, to play a backup role to Marcus Rashford, because we do know that Rashford is first choice ahead of Romelu Lukaku. I think Lukaku scored about 42 goals in 96 games for us in all competitions in his 2-year period here. But I think his ratio is very good in the Premier League. He scored a lot of goals. His pedigree is very, very good, and he's 26 years of age, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, Lukaku. And like I said, I've got strong reservations about him. His first touch concerns me. He's a big bottler. He hasn't got that endless potential and all that. I think he did sustain quite a few injuries last season. Obviously, not really, really good in the air and all that. And he's reliable enough, to get them runs in behind too slow. So these are all the reservations I've got about Romelu Lukaku. So I do believe that we do need to, currently get rid of him. But like I said, us selling Lukaku and Pogba, we can raise them around £200 million for their sales, which, would help us, like I said, with our transition. But I think we actually need a replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, we need someone that can score them goals, because like I said, at the moment, Rashford is not reliable enough yet, to deliver us them goals that we do need. Obviously, he hasn't emulated that level yet, and it's going to take him a couple of years, to get into that level, where he does currently want to be. Obviously, the club are not orchestrating on selling Marcus Rashford. We're not orchestrating on selling him around. Hopefully we can come to an agreement to get him a contract extension, because Rashford, of course, is in the final year of his current deal. But obviously, there was a lot of reports were going out yesterday. This was actually, as I think I updated you about it earlier on. Actually, I updated you about it on. This was actually, stemming from Andy Goldstein. He's actually, a presenter of Talk Sport, and he basically said, that Manchester United are interested in signing, Patrick Emerick Aubameyang from Arsenal. This is what it reportedly said, and this is a surprise, to be quite honest with you. And he did say, we are preparing to make an audacious move for Aubameyang, and he did say, we're willing to pay up to around £70 million for his services. And I do like Patrick Aubameyang a lot. I've watched him quite a few times for Arsenal, and I've always liked him. I especially wanted him, during his Borussia Dortmund days and all that. Obviously, Arsenal got him in January 2018. Arsenal paid him around £56 million for his services. I think that was actually a record fee that Arsenal paid for him back in January 2018. And he's a really, really good player. I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. Obviously, he is 30 years of age now, as Aubameyang, so obviously, he is aging up. I think last season, I think he scored 22 goals in 36 games in the Premier League. I think he scored like 31 goals in all competitions, but he scored 22 goals in 36 games in the Premier League last season. And obviously, was the joint Premier League's joint top goal scorer, with Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah and all that. But he did initially say, that we have been in for Aubameyang and all that. Obviously, Aubameyang has also, been linked to a move to China, because obviously, quite a few China clubs have inquired about his services and all that. But yeah, I really like Patrick Emerick Aubameyang. I don't believe there's a lot of credibility in it, to be quite honest with you. I don't see Aubameyang, coming here to Manchester United. I don't think this deal will happen. But he does say, that we have clearly, been in for him. But like I said, 30 years of age now, so reflecting on his age, I don't think the vast majority of Manchester United fans, would like to, see him come in. But this is actually, stemming from Andy Goldstein saying that Manchester United are in for him. But we do know Manchester United and Arsenal have done business in the past. Don't forget, obviously, we got Sanchez as part of the swap deal, Mkhitaryan back in January 2018. I hope Sanchez, does leave the club. Obviously, we're not going to be able to get rid of him permanently, based on his substantial wages. Obviously, we got Robin van Persie from them back in 2012 and all that. And I do believe this deal, would be a similar, the Aubameyang one than the Robin van Persie one in 2012. But obviously, he won his league in 2013, you can say, because obviously, the amount of goals and that he scored, and that was obviously, in Alex Ferguson's last season. Obviously, I think Arsenal got Danny Welbeck from us back in 2014, or was it 2015, if I can remember rightly. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. I think Arsenal paid him around £16 million in, but I don't see, Aubameyang coming to Manchester United, and he could actually, Aubameyang, could actually, sign a new contract with Arsenal, or if he doesn't sign a new contract, he may make the move to China. I think, maybe someone in China is willing to offer him a salary, with around £300,000 a week, but Aubameyang is predominantly a striker, but he can also play out wide. He can obviously, he can play on the left, he can also play out on the right, but he is mainly a striker, he's Aubameyang. But I do like him. His finishing's good. His finishing's really good. His pace is really good. He's really good in the air. And I do really like him a lot. I've always liked him, like I said, since his Borussia Dortmund days. But like I said, I've been updating you on a regular basis, haven't I? In regard, to Harry Maguire from Leicester. Obviously, he's been one of our priority targets. I'm still quite a bit sceptical, of Harry Maguire, coming to Manchester United. To be quite honest with you, obviously, I'm sceptical. The main factor reason why I'm sceptical, because obviously, Leicester have priced him out of the transfer market. Obviously, they're demanding an extortionate amount for Harry Maguire, because looking at ultimately, Leicester don't want to sell him. Leicester want around 80 or £90 million to him, and I think Manchester United, of course, are reluctant to pay that. Also, Manchester City are reluctant, to pay up to £80 million for him, his services, and City only rate him at around £50 million. City only rate him at around £50 million and all that. So basically, Leicester, don't want to, currently sell him. I think from Harry Maguire's preference, he's keen on making the move to Manchester City. He's keen on making the move to Manchester City, is Harry Maguire, because obviously, Manchester City are dominant. They're the dominant force at the moment. They're doing really well, Manchester City, and obviously, City in that can offer him, Champions League football. But basically, he said, we was willing to spend up to £80 million for him, on him. Ed Woodward was keen on recommending him in, and he says we were willing to spend £80 million on him. Also, we was willing to offer him, around the £350,000 a week contract term and all that. Obviously, if we did get him for around £80 million, obviously it would make him the most expensive defender in world football, and also, make him the most expensive, English player of all time. Obviously, the most expensive defender in world football at the moment is Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, who, of course, Liverpool paid £75 million for. But yeah, like I said, I did say Manchester United, we are confident, that we can beat, Manchester City to the signing of him. He did say the other week that we was confident that we can, outbid Manchester City for his services. And I do think, he is a really good central defender, is Harry Maguire. I don't think he's worth 80 or £90 million and all that, but I think he's a really good central defender. He is proven in the Premier League. I think his defensive abilities are very good, and he just showed that ability, to play out from the back. He is British. Obviously, he's only 26 years of age, so he has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And if he was to come to Manchester United, I think, we would be able to show him first team football. If he was to go to Manchester City, he wouldn't be guaranteed first team football at Manchester City, because obviously, City have got John Stones. Obviously, they've also got, Otamendi. They've also got they've also got Laporte and all that, so he would find a first team football pretty difficult with Harry Maguire. He has been at Leicester a couple of seasons. I think in total he's made 101 appearances in the Premier League in total. Obviously, he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. But obviously, Harry Maguire, he's not going to want to he's not going to want to spend the rest of his playing career with Leicester. Obviously, even if he doesn't leave this summer, at some point in his career, he's going to want to rejuvenate his career, take his football in her career to the next level and all that. But if anyone was willing to pay £80 million, but I don't think we are. Well, I don't think we are now. I think Ed Woodward was keen on spending £80 million on him at one point, but I don't think we are now. But if Leicester were to get that for him anyway, they would make a huge profit on the player, because Leicester got him for around £17 million from Hull City, a couple of years ago and all that. I think also Harry Maguire, before he was at Leicester, had a loan spell with Wigan, and I think when he was younger, he actually began his career with Sheffield United. Graduated from their youth system, and I think he ended up playing about 166 professional games for Sheffield United. But I think we are willing to offload one of our players as part of the deal, at least one of our players as part of the deal. As part of the deal, to try and convince Leicester, to lower their asking price for Harry Maguire. So basically, we could even offer two of our players, to convince Leicester to lower their price tag for him. So one of the players it did say we was willing to offer to Leicester as part of the deal for Harry Maguire was Andres Pereira. Obviously, Andres Pereira is one of our fringe players, and he also said in the media the other day that we could, be willing to offer Eric Bailly and Marcus Rojo to Leicester as part of the deal for Harry Maguire. And I think Rojo as being part of the deal for Harry Maguire, I think would be very beneficial for us, because obviously Rojo is very inconsistent, and I think we do need to definitely get rid of Marcus Rojo. But with him being part of the deal as Harry Maguire, would be happy with that. I don't think that would be beneficial from a Leicester perspective. With Eric Bailly, I wouldn't be too sure of Eric Bailly. I think it would be, from a Leicester perspective, that would be beneficial for Leicester, because actually Eric Bailly is a really good central defender, when he is fully fit. And I know that Eric Bailly is now obviously injury prone and all that, and his Manchester United career has been badly affected, the amount of injuries he has sustained, obviously with his fallout under managers and all that. I think we probably would be open to selling Eric Bailly, but obviously discarding him being part of any swap deal. I think we'd probably want to recruit the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal back in 2016. But like I currently said, we did say that could be one of the players that we're willing to offer in exchange for Harry Maguire. Of course, is Eric Bailly. But basically, I'm not too sure about Harry Maguire. To be quite honest, but like I said, there has been so many central defenders on our agenda, because we do need someone who can go alongside Lindelof in our backline without a shadow of a doubt. Someone that can complement Lindelof, and I do believe Harry Maguire would be the right solution. I think we need two central defenders, because quite clearly we've got issues defensively. Smalling and Jones are not good enough. Smalling's been here 9 years. Jones of course has been here 8 years, and they've been two long-term players at the club, and it was a bad mistake from us giving them two new long-term contracts and all that. But there has been so many central defenders on our current agenda. Obviously, a lot of reports emerged out last week. Obviously, about Issa Diop from West Ham. Obviously, there has been a lot of talks about him going on, but again, West Ham have priced him out of the transfer market. Basically, West Ham, don't even want to sell, Issa Diop. I think they want at least in the region of around £60 million. Obviously, I don't think Manchester United would be willing to spend up to £60 million on his services, because I don't think he's worth £60 million. Don't get me wrong, I think Issa Diop, would be a cheaper solution than Harry Maguire from Leicester. He'd be a cheaper solution than Koulibaly from Napoli. Probably be a cheaper solution than Matty Stillett and that for Ajax, but I just don't think we're willing to pay up to £60 million for him. But basically, he did say he's keen on making the move to Manchester United. Is Issa Diop. Reportedly, we've already had the £40 million bid turned down for him, because we did we offered £40 million for his services. We also offered Phil Jones as part of a deal for Issa Diop, but reportedly West Ham had turned this down. Initially, the player remained anonymous, for quite a bit, and then obviously most recently, he got revealed, the player that we offered, plus that £40 million, and obviously, it was Phil Jones and all that, but obviously West Ham had instantly, turned this down. But reportedly did say if West Ham are willing to do any business for Issa Diop, it did say, they want Anthony Martial in exchange and all that, but obviously, Manchester United are not going to be willing to go along with, because we do know how imperative, of course, Anthony Martial is to the football club, so we wouldn't go along with that. And obviously, Issa Diop has had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League, so he is now proven in the Premier League. Obviously, it was his debut season last season for West Ham. Obviously, played about 33 games, I think 38 games in all competitions, and obviously, West Ham got him last summer. West Ham got him last summer from Toulouse for around £22 million. Obviously, he did sign a 5-year deal, so obviously he's under contract to West Ham until 2023. I was reading a bit more up about Issa Diop today, and he actually said, West Ham are willing to, offer him a pay rise, to probably convince him to stay at the club and all that. Maybe they may even consider extending his contract, but he's obviously still got 4 years remaining on his current deal and all that. But he is only 22 years of age. He's very young. I think he's about 6'4", so he's very tall. So I do presume he's very good in the air, and probably would blend in my backline, really, really well and all that. But I do believe there are two main targets now, in that central defensive position, is Harry Maguire and Issa Diop, because I think Koulibaly is very unlikely. I don't think, you know, De Ligt to Manchester United is going to happen now. But yeah, like I said, you know, we need a massive overhaul this summer because, you know, you can see the deficiencies in the squad. But I've ignored what's been said today, you know, from ESPN. You know, this was obviously, you know, coming from Mark Ogden, you know, him saying that we've only got £100 million to spend and all that. And obviously, you know, it did say, you know, us spending further, dependent on us spending further. He basically said, if I can remember right, you know, dependent on the money, you know, we do raise from by players' sales and all that. But yeah, I don't believe this. You know, we haven't got £100 million. I think it's £200 million. You know, we have got, you know, to currently spend and all that. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.